Have you ever been worried about someone you thought maybe was suicidal, but you didn't really know what to do, or maybe you had some ideas as to what you could do, but you also came up with reasons why you shouldn't, or reasons why you might be overreacting, or why you might get in trouble, or any other reason? There's lots of barriers that we experience because this is a very scary situation. So, welcome to the Suicide Prevention Lady podcast, where we make intervention easy. I'm your host, Dr. Ricky Turner. I'm a suicide intervention expert, a public keynote speaker, and trainer across the nation. And what I do is come in and I teach others how to intervene in scary situations such as this. Now, I have had a lot of people ask for this resource. I've had some people pushing into it, and I'm so excited to finally let it happen. And this podcast, we're not going with the traditional suicide prevention frameworks. This is where we focus a lot on help-seeking behaviors and just make sure to get them to some help. And it's not practical in the society in which we live. Can you absolutely push for help-seeking behaviors and for people who need help to actually reach out for help? Yes, of course, it saved many lives. And there are times when people literally can't get the motivation or the energy or the will to get out of bed and go brush their teeth, let alone try to navigate a health system that is designed not to help us. So I have made it my mission to go out into the world and teach the helpers, help those of us who see what's going on. I want you to imagine, if you will, you're at the beach and you see someone drowning. What is your reaction to that? You're probably going to go get the lifeguard, or maybe you're going to go out and get help. You're going to alert people, hey, there's somebody drowning right here. You may be one of the brave souls that swims out and actually saves the day, right? But I never really hear about people in this scenario saying, you should really learn how to swim. That's not how this goes. You don't go out there and be like, okay, now kick. That's not what we do. When someone is in distress like that, we go out and we help them and we bring them back in. And once they are safe and once they are recovered, that's when we start focusing on, okay, maybe it's time to learn to swim, or maybe it's time to look for the rip current, or whatever it is that got them in that situation in the first place. Okay? That's my philosophy when it comes to suicide prevention. It's not solely the responsibility of the person who is suicidal. And we'll talk a lot about that and more. We're going to cover myths around suicide. We're going to cover what to do, what not to do. We're going to talk to people who have lived this experience. We're going to talk to survivors of suicide attempts. We're going to talk about people who have thought about it, have considered it, but not necessarily gone through with it. We're going to talk to people who have lost someone to suicide. All of this and more is going to be in this podcast. So what I need you to do, go ahead and subscribe. Whatever platform you're on that you listen to your podcast, please go ahead and subscribe. You can also subscribe on my YouTube channel as well. If you don't want to subscribe, that's okay. You can go to my website, www.stillyourize.com/podcast. And there you can put your email in, and I will email you an update every time I drop an episode, because you know what? It's time to start saving some lives, and it's time to attack the stigma, and it is time to change our culture in the way that it deals with suicide. So join me on June 11th for our first episode. And that episode, I will be talking about how my origin story, how I became a suicidologist, how a little girl from Northwest Arkansas who had no hopes or ambitions of doing much of anything ended up in this role. It's a tale. All right. So join me next time so you can also intervene with ease.